Welcome to Florida Criminal Law. My name is Stephen G. Cobb. This is our series on advanced settlement strategies, specifically SPECT brain imaging. Now, as you've seen already, the brain images are very important for telling us what's going on in the brain. We have a procedure for incompetency and not guilty by reason of insanity. What about a plea bargain or better sentencing? Because that's what we're using this type of technology for. How does that work exactly? Well, in the beginning of the case, one of the early things we want to do is educate you and your loved ones about how the brain imaging works, what all is involved with a brain imaging diagnostic evaluation, what types of treatment modalities may or may not be used by the doctors, because let's face it, my doctorate's in law, it's not an MD. Listen to them on medical things. I don't have anything to say about it except general information, which is what we're going to provide. So in the beginning of a legal case, while we're busy doing all kinds of things with very specific names, we're filing a written plea of not guilty, or maybe we're filing a written denial of violation of probation or community control. Perhaps we're doing a notice of discovery and we're waiting for a discovery exhibit. Maybe we're doing a specific notice of discovery. Perhaps there are motions to suppress or dismiss. A number of different legal things. We're basically working the case while the client is getting a SPECT-based diagnostic evaluation that's going to take about 2 or 3 days to complete. Yes, it's pretty involved. No, it's not the cheap, low-budget, 15-minute diagnostic evaluation, because we're going to be using this in the courtroom. We're using this for negotiations. We need solid science. And the types of reports we get, to be quite honest, they're huge. There's a lot to them with a variety of treatment modalities, further testing that they often recommend. And so while our clients are going through the medical aspect, the psychiatric and psychological parts of the particular type of treatment that's recommended for them, from diagnostics through treatment, we're going to be working on the case. That's very important and critical. They actually start at the same time, although, as you see here, they're written out 1, 2, 3 form, because that third part is going to be the plea bargaining process. And what we want to have done when we get to the plea bargaining process is, first, we cannot ignore technical legal defenses. Those are critical. The stronger the case is for the defense, the better the plea offer. Now, that generality is true across the board. There are no exceptions. At the same time, we also want to use the material that we get from the brain imaging evaluation so that we can negotiate for a less punitive sentence and one that's oriented towards treatment. So often we find people sentenced to split sentences. Well, what is a split sentence? It's a period of incarceration followed by probation. And then on top of that, sometimes some feel-good treatment alternatives are stuffed into the sentence and a person is required to go. A classic example is when judges would force people to go to some type of failure-based program like Alcoholics Anonymous. Whoa, did I say that out loud? Did I come out and say AA is failure-based? Yes, I did. And later on, I'm going to explain just how bad AA and NA are, which is why we want you focused on things that actually work. We want to have a proper diagnosis first. So often when someone has too much to drink on a regular basis, the response is, oh, just go to AA, it's all your fault. Nobody ever thinks, maybe we should actually medically examine the patient to see why they're drinking so much. Maybe they have a problem in their brain. Maybe they like this particular drug but don't want to touch any other drugs because they have a specific problem with a part of their brain that makes them crave this drug. That's different. Actual science instead of, let's be real, guesstimation. So while you're going through the scientific analysis with a highly skilled group of doctors, you or your family member, what's going to happen is we're going to work on the legal case, and then at the right time, we're going to put science in the form of medical science with law, specifically criminal law, together, and we're going to try and bring your case in for a landing with the best possible outcome, the least amount of punishment, and the most amount of treatment, because our goal is that if you do this particular type of program, we want it to be one-stop therapy. We don't ever want you to get in trouble again. We don't want you, your friends, your family, your loved ones going through the trauma of months and months and months of worry about arrest and prosecution and imprisonment and all this suffering and upset. We want to solve the problem of crime one patient defendant at a time. My name is Stephen Cobb. I'm the host of Florida Criminal Law. I've done it for a long time. If you think we can help you, feel free to give us a call.